So we've got the OBD device, or the onboard diagnostics device, and this device is actually sending the data to the Raspberry Pi running inside the car. Now in the Raspberry Pi there is an application written in Python that is actually communicating with this OBD, and here we're receiving the data, the telemetry data from the car, such as speed, RPM, and gas level, for example. And then we're sending this data to a server, again running on my laptop, and then this data is being sent to Unreal. Now this is the interface that we can have created. Now we might be able to see this interface clearly once I do the quick demonstration about this whole project later in this video. But for now, the way that we're running this whole the whole experience is by designing the whole thing in Unreal, and then we're streaming the whole thing using the pixel streaming functionality. And that's why how I'm able actually to see the final product in here, so I can communicate and get some data on my phone, like so. So just to demonstrate some of the functionalities that we have, let's actually go for a quick ride, and you can see, let's see if we can update the speed in here. So let's just go forward a bit. So in this case we're just updating the speed at the moment. Now I could do multiple things in here. At the moment the speed is being updated, but I could do some other things. So some of the things that I could do is just by coming here, and then I can just tap in the meter that I have, and that's going to show me the engine load, for example. Or I could maybe switch to the RPM, and you can see that the RPM is being updated in real time. Now some of the other telemetry data, the data that we have in here is the engine temperature and the engine load as well, and we have the gas level, like so. And then if you actually go down, you see we have a representation for the car. So if I tap in here, I could see some 3D presentation. Now I haven't added much functionalities in this part yet, but one of the things that we could do is to get the tire pressure. So if I actually go and select the icon for the tire pressure, we can see the tire pressure like so. And I could always hit the button again, and you can see that we're using the touch functionalities within Unreal to see most of these functionalities. And I could also hit the battery icon. So in this case we can get the voltage, the current voltage for our battery, like so. Another thing that we have just for fun is I've added like a music player functionality. So if I tap in here, I could switch between multiple tracks, like so. There we go, and I could maybe switch to some other track, just like so. So this is just a very basic dashboard that has been created using Unreal, and now I'm just gonna switch to the Unreal part, talking about how this simple interface has been created and what kind of functionalities we have used to get some to get the real-time data part. So let's have a look at the Unreal project. If I go to the main component, in my case is this gauge blueprint. So if I come in here, you can see that I have a bunch of different modules, and every single module is controlling a specific component on my UX. So for example, if I look at the gauge input, this is what I can see: the speed and the RPM and the engine load, and I can switch between these different modes by using the input touch begin. So I'm using the on clicked if I'm on mouse, and I could use the touch begin if I would like to interact with this module using the touch options. So in my case, if I can go to this component, once I hit or once I click on the gauge, I'm triggering a function called the get teledata. Now in this case, you can see that I'm using a function called get JSON string value, which is basically a node that comes with the pixel streaming plugin. And in this case, we're requesting a specific field name called speed. So if you actually go to the app.js file that comes with the pixel streaming plugin, in my case, I'm just using a bunch of different functions that we can actually use to bring in the data from the OBD.
So if I go to my Raspberry Pi app, in this case, I have the data being read by this app, and then this data is being sent to a server, which is called the data.js in my case, and this data is being sent to the app.js file that we have in here. Now the app.js and the player HTML are basic templates. You would see them once you install or once you enable the Pixel plugin. And most of the time you wouldn't need to do much unless you would need to do some custom logic, or if you need to add some data integration, which I have done in my case. And that's how I'm actually able to retrieve the data using this blueprint. And I'm basically doing it for basically pretty much everything. So I need to retrieve it for the gauges, and at the same time I need to get some real-time data for the gas level, for example, and the engine temperature. And the rest of the logic in this blueprint is just to control the UX. So for example, if I need to switch between different tracks that I have in my music player, I'm using just very simple logic to trigger it. And at the same time, if I need to play around with the car, if I need to see it from different views, I'm using the same exact logic. Now this car has been brought from the car configurator project found in the Epic Games launcher. A very nice project. You can learn a lot from it. And I just took this model just to add some 3D functionality in this presentation. Now, just to see how does it work in action, I'm away from the car now, so you won't be able to see the real-time data. But for now, what I can do is just to test it locally at least. So obviously I would need to go to the standalone mode, which I have already done. So let's go ahead and just run it on my browser. So I have the power button in here, which allows us to trigger the experience. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go, and we have the elements coming up like so. And again, I could interact with these elements just for now. Since I'm on my laptop, I could just control this experience by using my mouse, and I could also go to my gauge, and I could get the different data types that I have in this presentation. So I'll be releasing this UX very soon in the Epic Games Marketplace. It will be released for free. So if you have any interest in adding some more functionality to this UX, or if you would like to develop your own backend for it, that is possible as well. But for now, this is what I've got. Thank you. Bye.